$3 a minute. That's 1-900-847-2900.
For 15 years, this young man didn't know who his father was. Then he met one of these three men. Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Michael Levine.
Number two.
My name is Michael Levine.
Number three.
My name is Michael Levine.
Only one of these people is the real Michael Levine, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Actor and raconteur, Orson Bean. Emmy Award-winning actress, Betty White. Co-star of Night Court, Richard Moll. And to tell the truth's very own, Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our show. If you will indulge me for just a moment, I'd like to begin this program with a brief confession. To tell the truth, I am absolutely thrilled to be here because for the very first time in over 18 years of hosting television shows here at NBC, this is the first time I get to work sitting down. And I thank NBC for this relief, believe me.
How does it feel?
Well, it feels a little low. I think they gave me the shaft. There we go. Hello, panel. All right, let's get to the story represented by our first team of challengers, all three of whom claim to be Michael Levine. And this is his story. Please read along with me. I, Michael Levine, went on vacation and came home with a 15-year-old son. When I was a teenager, I had worked on a volunteer construction project in St. Lucia, a tropical island paradise. While there, I had a brief romantic encounter with a young woman and then returned to life in America. 15 years later, a bachelor buddy of mine suggested we go on a Caribbean vacation. Coincidentally, we arrived in St. Lucia. I told my friend about my previous trip. Retelling the story aroused my curiosity, and the next morning we went to the same village I had visited 15 years earlier. We learned that the woman had moved away to the hills and that she had a son. They called him Yellow Boy. At that moment, I knew I was a father. We asked around some more and found out my son worked in a nearby village. The next day, I met Tony, and now he lives with me. And it's signed Michael Levine. Welcome, gentlemen. We'll find out more about our bachelor father right after this.
First, microwave popcorn was created, then others followed. Now, premium microwave popcorn with a real difference. Introducing new Jiffy Pop Microwave, the only popcorn with 100% corn oil for great taste.
We switched for that great taste.
It's a pop ahead of the others.
Only Jiffy Pop pops premium popping corn in 100% corn oil.
It's absolutely delicious.
Switch to new Jiffy Pop with 100% corn oil. Great taste and a pop ahead of the others.
Flu rages across the U.S. Now in 46 states. What will you do? Doctors recommend Theraflu, hot liquid medicine that works fast. Theraflu, strong therapy for flu symptoms.
I used to feel so guilty about snacking until I found the perfect snack, Sunsweet pitted prunes. They're just bursting with flavor and so naturally sweet. Perfect. Only one prune tastes Sunsweet.
All right, panel. These three gentlemen all claim to be Michael Levine, who met his son for the very first time on a tropical island. Let's start the questioning with you, Kitty.
Thank you. Number one, were you married when you went back for the second time?
No, I wasn't.
Number two, did you recognize the boy as your son?
At first, no, not at all. But then I noticed he had the same nose I have.
And number three, did he have characteristics of your family that you could relate to?
He probably has more characteristics of other members of my family than he does to myself.
Well, that happens too.
Some good groundwork set up for you there, Richard. You begin the questioning now.
Yes, number one, what's your son's middle name?
He doesn't have a middle name.
What major island is Santa Lucia near, number 3?
Martinique.
What college was it that you worked at, number 1?
I worked in a college in West Palm Beach.
Called?
West Palm Beach College.
Ah.
Sounds very straightforward. Betty?
Number 2, why did they call him Yellow Boy?
Because of his mixed heritage.
Number 3, was his mother alive when you went back to find him?
His mother is still alive today, yes. She was not on the island.
But number 1, have you seen his mother?
Oh, you're out of time, Betty. Let's go to Orson.
Yeah, I've been to St. Lucia, and I must say they have the most beautiful women in the world. In fact, I was there about 15 years ago. That kid looks like... number 1, now, is there a cultural problem on his part adjusting from island life to wherever you live?
Actually, no, I think I'm the one adjusting more than he is.
Number 3, is it strange to have a son who says, hey, man, can I have my allowance? Does he talk in that wonderful way that the island people?
I had a hard time commuting. He speaks like a French dialect called patois, so it was kind of hard for me to understand.
Oui, man, I won my allowance. Number 2, now, is his name Levine now?
No.
We will not have time to pursue anything else. Time's up, panelists. It's time now for you to vote for one of these 3 gentlemen. Number 1, number 2, or number 3. And our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if our panel is fooled completely, and that happens on occasion, the team will receive $3,000. Panelists, are you ready? Kitty?
Oh, it's very difficult because any one of them could be. They all look very young to have a 15-year-old son, and they're all good-looking enough to have won the heart of a maiden, an island maiden. But I voted for number 2.
All right, let's go to Richard.
You're all liars! Every one of you! I don't vote for any of them. I had to vote for one, so I voted for number 1 because I used to have a press agent named Michael Levine, and he kind of looks like him.
I suppose that's as good a reason as any. Betty, who did you vote for?
Well, the answers were all very convincing. Perhaps because I spoke to number 2 at greater length, I voted for number 2.
And Orson?
They're all great liars. I don't know. I voted for number 2 as well because he does have that kid's nose. I can see him sitting in the audience. And...
All right, the votes are all in. Let's see what we have. Number 1 managed to convince Richard. Number 2 was most convincing. He got the votes of all of the other panelists. And number 3, no votes for you. So it's time now to find out who the real father is. And so, gentlemen, will the real Michael Levine please stand up? Michael Levine is number 3. Michael, we'll get back to you in just a moment. Let's find out who our imposters are. Number 1, you got 1 vote. Who are you and what do you do?
My name is Danielle Riddell, and I sell maternity clothes.
I see. Number 2, you are the most convincing of our challengers. Who are you? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Stephen Douglas. I'm a sex educator and MFCC counselor.
Mercy.
Well, good for you. Gentlemen, you managed to stump our panel, and that means the team will receive $3,000. Michael, this was a most heartwarming story. You, number 1, tried to touch on the adjustments your son Tony has had to make in coming to the United States. Where do you and Tony live?
In New Jersey.
And what's the biggest adjustment for him?
Probably the communication, actually, because his English is very broken English. That's based on his French, and it's hard for him, a lot of people, to understand him when he talks.
Well, let's let him speak for himself. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Michael Levine's son, Tony. Tony, welcome aboard. What's the best thing about living here in the United States, and what do you miss most about St. Lucia?
Well, the most thing I miss about St. Lucia is the weather condition, and the best thing I like here is I could go back to school again and start all over.
Well, good for you. Gentlemen, thank you all so much for sharing this story with us today and being with us on To Tell the Truth. We're going to come back with Marilyn Monroe's stand-in right after this.